host, Chris Crenshaw, and we are live still from the 704 once again for episode 94 of the 815 Exchange. Well. New setup. No longer is the couch blue. No. We are at the black couch, and I would take a wider shot, but I'm, of course, the only person here recording this, so, can't really do all that. And, of course, this, kind of, may switch throughout the coming weeks, and just kind of me getting used to living here. But, yeah, we are in the new apartment. Moved all day yesterday. It was very tiring, but it was good. And, yeah, this is all going to be filmed on Sunday, so not even a drip of it, not even a bit of it filmed on Monday. I still will probably drop this episode Monday. Pretty confident I'm going to do that, so you're probably watching this Monday. So, of course, as that is, we will miss out on some of the 8 and 9 o'clock action, like the late Grizzlies-Warriors game and some of the NHL games, but we will be able to talk about most of this that happens in sports and entertainment, really just mostly sports. This is, if you're a sports person and you're here for the sports, then this is the week for you. Nothing. It was the quietest week I can remember in entertainment in probably the year. In terms of music, movies, there was nothing. There was absolutely nothing. I think Candies happened last week, but I'm not even sure about that. But so not too much to talk about. Migos did drop a song, so I'll talk about that and kind of that situation. But besides that, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this show on the road, shall we? First off, as always, remember that everything you're looking for is in the description, whether that's my social medias, TikTok, IG, Snapchat, Twitter, whatever you're looking for, it's also in the outro, but is in the description along with timestamps. So if you really want to hear me talk about Connor McDavid's insane pace right now in the NHL Playoffs, feel free to skip ahead. You want to hear me talk about the Josh Donaldson situation, or what is a very loaded roundup this week, and Anderson Silva and Floyd's exhibition. When we talk about that, feel free to skip ahead. Timestamps are provided in the description. And as always, remember to like, share, and subscribe if you guys are enjoying the content. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this going. Episode 94, it's a new era. It's a new era. I said welcome to the new era last week. Well, here's the new era of the 815 Exchange, and we're kicking it off with soccer. How fitting. It was the last week, not the last week of the season. That's actually next week, and we'll talk about Champions League a little bit later in this segment. But it was Championship Sunday today and a little bit yesterday. So we had the finalizing of the big leagues in Europe. It was the last match day. And the biggest story was probably Kylian Mbappe, but the second biggest story was probably also something related to Kylian Mbappe. But the third biggest story was definitely the Premier League championship race, and really the relegation battle as well. That was super intense. Shout out to Jack Harrison. I didn't put that in my notes, but Harrison with the late strike, with the Guerrero-esque strike to keep Leeds up on the last day in the 92nd minute. So yeah, shout out to MLS, American, U.S. soccer, U.S. college soccer legend Jack Harrison, Wake Forest legend, North Carolina native. So yeah, shout out to Jack and shout out to Leeds for staying up. But Manchester City did it again, and it only took 5 minutes. It's like the ball fraud wanted to make it as dramatic as possible in terms of winning this. Like, he had to make this as dramatic as humanly possible. And boy, oh boy, did he make it as dramatic as humanly possible, as they waited till the 70th minute to strike first. Or I think it was exactly to the 77th minute. On the 76th minute, Gundogan got his first. Then Rodri scored to tie it up. And then Aston Villa completed the bottle, and Man City completed the storybook ending with Gundogan getting the brace in the 81st. First off, by the way, KDB, who was named player of the season the day before, was ridiculous in this match. Ridiculous. Same thing with Zinchenko. It was ridiculous. Ridiculous with the passing. But Gundogan, huge. Like I said, he gets the brace. They score 3 times in 5 minutes. Just absurd. You couldn't have wrote it better if you're a Man City fan. And they win, and we need to talk about this. Their 4th title in 5 years. I know everybody gets on the French league, or, every league besides really the Premier League in La Liga, as the Farmers League, right? This is the Farmers League. While we ignore, even though Liverpool's had their moments, and this was a very close race, even though it was really a two-horse race, if we're being honest, between Man City and Liverpool. I mean, if you look at just who's winning the titles, Man City's kind of wiping England. I mean, they are wiping England. It's only going to get worse with Haaland coming in. Like, it's only going to get worse. If Haaland plays like Haaland in the way that he should in that Man City squad, it's only going to get worse. Like, this could get to Bayern levels of 10-10. Like, Man City is almost clear-cut above, including Liverpool. With Haaland coming in. But, yeah, it's just funny. Everybody else is the Farmers League, but Man City's kind of dominating the Prem. But I digress. I wouldn't really call any of the European leagues Farmers Leagues. They're the top leagues for a reason. And even in England, with me saying this argument, Liverpool's won the Champions League recently. Chelsea literally won it last year. Liverpool's in the final this year, and they were 2-3. So, again, Premier League is worth the hype and worth the label of the toughest league. I mean, just look at the teams. But relax on calling every other league because Man City's wiping y'all in terms of just the Prem in general. Pep, I think he's got the second most titles ever of any manager in the Premier League history. So shout out to Pep. Liverpool handled business too. They won 3-1. Mane, Salah, Andy Robinson all got on the board. Salah ties with Sonny with the Golden Boot. But they fall 1 point short. Agonizing. Nearly had it. You did your job, but came 1 point short, 93-92, just because Man City pulled it out at the end. Speaking of Spurs and Sonny, they dominated. Dominated their way to clinching that last Champions League spot. So Arsenal will be playing European football along with Manchester United in the Europa League and not the UCL. But Suns just was spectacular. Sun was spectacular this year. Kudryavsky was also spectacular this year, Dejan. A lot of things came together for Spurs down the stretch, and well deserved. Kind of playing Champions League ball. Arsenal, very very young team. They should contend for the Europa League. It's gonna be weird seeing CR7 in the Europa League as well, but that's just the way it happens. Now let's talk about it. Right, the big story of the week. Really, in general, if you just take sports as like a huge kind of macrocosm or micro, just taking about the world, probably the biggest news was Kylian Mbappe, right? The saga that was drawn out, bits and pieces by him, but also a whole lot by the media, and that's going to be very important in my kind of what I'm saying here. Finally came to a close as Kylian Mbappe surprisingly re-signed with PSG to 2025. Of course, he is getting one of the richest contracts of any athlete in the history of the world. I think he's getting half, not a million, not half $100 million, $500 million essentially in total. Not all of that I think is guaranteed, but $500 million basically to stay. Insane money. Probably gonna make him arguably the richest athlete ever. When he's done, by the way, he's probably gonna be the richest athlete ever. And of course, that's, kind of crazy how PSG is just able to conjure up this money because of their ownership, of course, with Nasser and just kind of everything there. And I'm not a big fan of it, right? I'm not a big fan of it. And of course, the money played a big part in Mbappe staying. That's beyond, that's generational. That's beyond generational wealth, right? That's generational wealth for your generations beyond you, like far down your line, right? Bar somebody in your family just ridiculously blowing that money, and you still might have millions to go. It's just an insane amount of money, and anybody in his position would take that. But I think it's ridiculous that people are finding it hard to conceive. Like, why is it inconceivable that the French golden child, who plays in the capital of his home country on the best team, wouldn't want to chase for just a little bit longer, wouldn't want to chase the dream of winning that sport's biggest prize, which would make him a god in France. If he's able to deliver and play well and deliver PSG a Champions League, Mbappe would be a god. He would ascend to deityhood in France. He is already the Prince of Paris. He would become a god. Not a king, a god. A World Cup, and he's on a French club, French superstar, best player in the world, delivers a Champions League title back home. Is an insane story and an insane possible achievement for one's legacy. So I don't think it's ridiculous to think that, sure, he's getting $500 million, like I said. It's kind of hard to deny that. No matter what your so-called dream is. But also, it's not inconceivable that, he's happy his family's here, right? His brother's in, the junior ranks at PSG currently. Not that he couldn't get in, at Real Madrid. But, Ethan's kind of carving out his career. He's happy. He's playing with Neymar and Messi. Sure, PSG definitely needs to work on that team. Let's not get it messed up. They need to work on that team, and sure, you could say the blood money and all that. But just from a club perspective, it's not inconceivable that Kylian Mbappe would choose PSG. And it's only for 3 years. It's till he's 26. He's still barred, God willing, because it would be an absolute travesty to the world of football if this guy got injured. He's going to be probably the best player in the world at 26, and he has the rest of his career to look upon. Right? So it's not the end of the world. Real Madrid can say it's a betrayal or whatever it is. Sure, he said some things. He absolutely said some things. He said Real Madrid is a dream. But I think the media ran with this a lot more than Mbappe more so was pushing it. As in like it was a sure thing. And Real Madrid fans, greatest club in the world. I love Real Madrid as well. Holla Madrid. I think their pride currently is stinging right now because they're supposed to be the dream of dreams, right? This is the club of clubs. Why would anybody, no matter any pound of money, if they say Real Madrid is the dream, why would they deny going to play in the Bernabeu, the stadium of dreams? Why would anybody do that? I feel like the pride of currently Real Madrid fans is hurt a little bit. But, if you take a step back, it's not ridiculous. Mbappe staying with PSG, I'm fine with that. I was fine either way. Of course, I was salivating with him playing with Roddy, with Vinny, and of course with Big Body Benz, King Kareem next year, and how amazing that would be. But, this is his path. This is his journey. He got offered a boatload of money. Beyond the boat. Yacht levels of money, right? But it's not impossible to think that the Paris kid wants to stay in Paris and, achieve the greatest honor he could possibly achieve, right? It's not crazy. So, yeah, Mbappe stays in Italia, Milan, not Inter, AC Milan. For the first time in a long time, Zlatan achieves his promise and he brings the Scudetto back to Milan. Congrats to Milan. By the way, the Maldinis, 3 generations, Caesar, Paulo, and now Daniel, have all won the Scudetto, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, shout out to Maldini's first family of Italian football. Milan wins the Scudetto. One more to say, beat Juve, beat Inter, beat everybody. Well-deserved. Rafael Leo and everybody there. Giroud scored twice, got a brace here. They just all came together and got a well-deserved win. Great campaign for AC Milan. They won the Scudetto. And of course, that brings me to the Champions League Final this weekend, amongst the millions of other things that are happening this coming weekend, which is Memorial Weekend. I'm also getting to go, hopefully, I should be, to the Charlotte Motor Speedway race, the Coke 600, so I will be there in attendance. So we'll have to figure something out whether I'm filming the episode on Saturday or I have to go back to Greensboro on Monday, so we'll figure that out. We'll figure it out. You'll get an episode. Don't worry about that. But Champions League Final is, in fact, next week or this coming week. So, Real Madrid, who we were just talking about, Liverpool, who we were also just talking about, I don't need a list of names. Benz is on very close, similar to Lua actually last year in terms of getting very close to Ronaldo's goals record. Liverpool as well, Salah has been fantastic. That front three, Diaz has been massive since he arrived. Mane, of course, arguably the best African player in the world. Yeah, it's a very even matchup. It's very 50-50 for me. You're not going to get a prediction out of the boy. I'm cool with either way. Real Madrid just puts the cherry on top. Vince probably wins the Ballon d'Or. Liverpool, they get their sweet, sweet revenge for losing the Premier League. They get their sweet, sweet revenge against Real Madrid for losing to them, 3-4 years ago? Before they won it the next year. So they get their sweet, sweet revenge. So revenge for Liverpool, Real Madrid, just even more legacy. Vince puts the cherry on top. Possibly Vinny or Roddy's kind of crowning ceremony into superstardom potentially. A lot of factors, right? A lot of factors. Camavinga, the youth versus what is this dynasty for Liverpool. So there's a lot of great stories. And what should be a phenomenal, phenomenal game. However, it is only one leg. So Real Madrid, no second leg magic, right? But nonetheless, it should be an absolutely great tie and an absolute potential instant Class of Champions. I hope I get to talk about that next week and say it was. But yeah, hopefully I get to be with some friends for that. We try to get some schedule. But Real Madrid, Liverpool, leave your predictions. Should be a great one. Now to quickly go to entertainment. Movies, let's talk about TV shows. Let me talk about oh, music. And I don't even have an album. I don't even have an album to talk about. It's really sad. I guess before I talk about Unconfused, Kendrick only sold 286,000 copies, which is very shocking. Very, very shocking. Now, the Kendrick defenders were all out. And of course, the amount of sales the album gets doesn't mean anything to the quality of the album, right? An album can sell very little, like an underground artist that doesn't sell really anything that even registers on like a Billboard chart could have a great album, right? But it's not like this huge selling album. Huge sales don't always equate to quality, but it's just shocking because Kendrick is supposed to be the like Cole said, like Kendrick's supposed to be the silver, right? And he only sold 286. Like that's Kendrick. It's crazy to me. So that was very, very shocking. Because those were very, very, compared to the predictions, like some people were saying 500K. I think I said 400, 300K? High 300K? So yeah, only selling 286 is very, very surprising. I'm going to be completely honest. Everybody can defend it for what they want. That is very low for what's expected. Now, I know it wasn't like the most commercial Kendrick album, which is why there's been some polarization in the quality. Even though it's very critically loved, there's some people that are like, it was an okay album because they weren't really. It's a story. It's not necessarily the easiest kind of let me just throw this song on and kind of listen to it, right? Type of vibe. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. It wasn't really that type of album. So I can understand that, but that was way lower than I expected. For comparison, Donda sold 300 something K. The off season sold I think 282. So Cole sold just under Kendrick with the off season. Not going to use. I saw one of them for this comparison used Astro, which was before the new kind of rules, and that sold 500K. So until Travis drops Utopia, that's not really relevant. But I guess Drake sold 613, something ridiculous, like 613K, which tells you how big. And I did not think that it was that much of a gap in terms of popularity between Drake and then just kind of everybody else. But it really appears to be it's Drake, at least in terms of popularity. Relax. Not saying in artistry or in quality, but in terms of popularity, it seems like it's Drake and then it's just kind of everybody else. But yeah, that was shocking. But on the more current, I guess relevant, even less relevant, stuff that actually dropped in music this week, Unconfused, which it seems like Quavo and Takeoff are doing something. Offset unfollowed both of them or something like that, or the Migos account. So everybody's kind of wondering what's Offset's feelings on this. But anyways, they dropped Hotel Lobby. It was good. It actually was good. Culture 3 was the last one that Migos dropped as a collective, I think last year. That was good. I like that. I forget what rating I gave it. You can go back if you can find that video. I'll tell you what my rating was. But yeah, it was good. Hotel Lobby, it was nice. It was one too long, but it was good. Quavo Takeoff did their thing. It's kind of weird because normally you see Offset in these kind of section off projects, but it'll be interesting how Quavo and Takeoff do. What type of, is this leading up to an album, or is this leading up to like an EP, some small sample, something like Silk Sonic? So we'll see, but Hotel Lobby, it was solid. Listen to it if you haven't already. Now, let's head over to the big stories. I mean, soccer was a big story, but we took a brief intermission, with the entertainment segment, which was really just music. But let's get back to it. Justin Thomas extended, my time in waiting to do this second part of the podcast. But we'll talk about that in the roundup. But for now, let's talk about the NHL. He did allow me to get to watch some of the extra NHL games. So we get pretty much a full, recap of the NHL this week. So I like that. We are in the second round. All right, we are in the second round. Puts us, on the verge of the conference finals. And it's shaking up very, very, very interestingly. But before we talk about all that, let's talk about what's going on in the second round. And we're going to kick off with probably the championship favorites, though one of the teams I'm going to talk about second are making it very, very, very interesting. Avs Blues. The Colorado Avalanche win 5-2. They win game 3, take command, take the 2-1 lead. Lehkonen. I said his name last week, and I'm going to say it again. Lehkonen, once again, shows up big time for the Avalanche. 2 goals in this game. Listen, it just might be. It just might be that time. It just might be that time where this team breaks through. This just might be that year. Now, they are locked in one. The Blues, like I said, it's only 2-1. This is still very much a series. But with McKinnon, with Landeskog, with Makar, Ratnan, Lehkonen, so on and so forth, you gotta think, man, when is it the time when this core is going to break through into that championship mold? We see it in other sports, right? The Bucks, for example, right? The defending champs, even though they won't be defending it this year as they got knocked out by the Celtics. But we saw Giannis and that kind of core fight for a couple of years. They had a fight before they bursted through onto the scene and they finally got that championship. The Avalanche could be on that same pathway. Of course, we'll see. But winning in the fashion that they did in Game 3 will go a very long way into kind of helping push them and kind of fulfilling this, we're not just regular season performers. We can also get it done in the playoffs. Avs up 2-1. Also in Game 3, and I put up 3 because what did I say about the Tampa Bay Lightning? It's different. It's different in the playoffs when you have that experience of having been there, done that. And like I said last week, and like I'll say today, the Lightning have been there, and they have done that. And once again, they are on fire. They are scorching hot. In the battle, we have the Battle of Alberta in this game. We have the Battle of my household with the Rangers and the Hurricanes, right? We have the Battle of Florida in this matchup, and Tampa Bay is winning decisively. A dominant, and I mean a dominant win in Game 3 to go up 3-0. Kucherov, 1 goal, 3 assists. I saw a stat with his numbers since I think it was like most playoff points since 2016-2017 season. He's played the most games, along with I think Vic, who's also on that list. Shout out to Victor Hedman. I talk about him every time I talk about the Lightning, so I don't need to tell you. If you've been around for the hockey segment, you know how much I praise Victor Hedman as one of the best defensemen of this generation. I believe he was 4th on that list, by the way, for top points as a defenseman, which is crazy. But Kucherov had like 134 points in 120 games or something ridiculous. He's a monster, all right? Kucherov, obviously one of the best players in the league. He showed it today. 1 goal, 3 assists. Vasilevsky, one of the best goalies in the league. 34 saves. Of course, only let up 1. It's been academic. It's really been academic versus the Panthers so far for the Lightning. They've been the dominant team of any team here in the second round, and they've dominated this Panthers team that looks like they're brand new. They look like they're brand new to the second round and playing meaningful hockey, especially against a team with a championship pedigree that the Tampa Bay Lightning do. And like I said, been here, done that. Experience matters in the playoffs, and the Lightning are putting it on, looking like they're breaking out the broomsticks. Rangers finally fight back, and though it's now still 2-1, they will not be getting swept. Shesterkin, listen, he's in the heart. He's a heart finalist for a reason. Probably win the Vezina. It's for a reason. for a reason, and he showed up big time in Game 3. 43 saves, only let up one. Rangers were able to get it done. Mika Zibanejad was massive, and he's been massive multiple times, along with guys like Kreider for this Rangers team. But Mika showed up big time, 1 goal and assist here. They make it a series, right? Games 3s are always important because it can either push a series. It pushes the momentum of a series, especially when it's a 2-0, because it's either one team's going to go to a 3-0 and it's like, okay, this team is in trouble. The team that's down 3-0, they're in trouble. We're looking at broomsticks. Or they make it 2-1 and suddenly it's 1 game away from, okay, we have a series. So Game 3's always crucial. And the Rangers, they showed up. What more is there to say? They showed up, so congrats to them. Lastly, we have Edmonton and Calgary. Now, I will not be able to talk about what happens in this game, but I will talk about the fact that my God, Connor McDavid is a monster, okay? He is a monster. He's a monster. He's already got 20 points in this playoffs, and he's played what? Less than 10 games? Or something ridiculous? It's just, or maybe exactly, I think he's played less than 10. Actually, I went to Game 7. He might be 1-10 starting today. But it's something ridiculous. McDavid's the best player in the world. However, this series is knotted up 1-1. Calgary had more points in the regular season. We talked about Calgary. They showed up. The people that I drove and co, they showed up. They showed up in Game 7, got it done. And here in the Battle of Alberta, the Battle of Alberta, goodness gracious. We got an interesting one. Like I said, Game 3 is always pivotal. Flames, it feels like they've been fighting down a lot in this playoffs. It would be huge for them to win this Game 3 here and kind of gain control of their destiny for once. For the Oilers, they got to keep the machine going, man. Got to keep the machine going. And listen, keep playing through the best player on the planet. Keep playing through the best player on the planet. You also have that Leon Draisaitl guy. He's pretty decent. But, keep playing through McDavid and, good things seem to come. So, should be an interesting Game 3. And, of course, we'll see what happens. You guys can comment below your thoughts and that. But, very, very interesting NHL playoffs. So, very, very interesting NHL playoffs. Now, I said the NHL playoffs were headed to the conference finals. Let's talk about its sister league, which is in its conference finals. And we're, in that Game 3 section as well. My. Listen. I'm gonna have to bring it back. I'm gonna have to bring it back. But he got injured in this game, actually. Jimmy Butler, he got injured. So it became a survival of the fittest because Marcus Smart also went down in this game. Of course, I'm talking about the Heat and the Celtics Game 3. A lot of people got banged up in this game. JT got banged up, who also had a nightmare game. I think he had 10 turnovers. He went 3 for 14, though I have in my notes. Nightmare game from Tatum. Nightmare. It seems like here in the playoffs, he's had games where he has letdowns, which happens, young players, but in the ascension. Now, he's ascended. I'm not taking that back. He's played well enough where, I got to say what happened, pay my respects. He's ascended. But against this Miami team, I know they've got great wing defense. I know they are a very, very good team. Cannot have. When you're supposed to be the guy and you're supposed to be the best, let's keep it real. He is supposed to be the best player in this series. Not Jimmy, not Bam, not JB. As great as he was here in Game 3, I'm about to talk about. Not Al Horford, who was also great. It's supposed to be Jason Tatum. He is supposed to be the guy. You can't go 3 for 14, so that's unacceptable. He's got to come back here in Game 4. It was a missed opportunity for Boston here in Game 3 because they should have won this game. I'm going to be blunt. They should have won this game. No Jimmy, but 22 turnovers. 22. Actually, it was more than that in the end. At one point, it was over 22 turnovers, or it was exactly 22. I could be wrong, but I know it was over 22 at least. I know going into that last 2 minutes, it was at 22. They may have turned it over once or twice in the final. But Miami gets the win here, 109 and 103. Made another comeback after Boston had control. Bam, 31, 10, and 6. We've been wondering where Bam Adebayo has been, Buckets has showed up. Max Strus has come alive. I mean, Duncan Robinson went MIA, but Max Strus just came and picked up right where he left off, right? Everybody else, for the most part, for Miami, showed up. But we've been kind of wondering where's Bam's been. We know how good Bam can be, and he showed how good he was here in Game 3. He led them 31-10-6. Like I said, Jaylen Brown dropped 40-9 in the Celtics loss. That is unacceptable. That is unacceptable. JB had 40-9. Al had 20-14, and they lost. Got to cut down on the turnovers. Now, give credit where credit's due. Coach Spo, listen. Eric Spoelstra is one of the best coaches, if not the best coach, and I will die on that hill in the league. One, if not the best, period, from a coaching standpoint, in the game. In this Miami defense, they come to play. But, with that said, unacceptable. JB dropping nearly a 40-10. Al dropped 20-14. You cannot lose. Once again, Tatum has to be better. Missed opportunity, and that can kill you in the playoffs. He take control 2-1. Warriors and the Dallas Mavericks play Game 3 tonight. Of course, we will talk about it. But, listen. Luka, he's amazing. All right? He had 42, 5, and 8 in Game 2. All right? But Golden State won 126-117. They had that place sounding like Oracle. Okay, it sounded like Oracle. I kept turning over because I was watching it, but it was like, I think it was late because it's on the West Coast. So I would turn over in bed. I just kept hearing yelling every time. It was electric in that arena. It was electric. And partially because Steph turned back the clock. We've been talking about Game 6 Clay. We've been talking about Jordan Poole, who had 23 in this game. We've been talking about everybody else, but Steph had to remind you guys why he is one of the best players to ever live, and at least the very minimum, the greatest shooter to ever live. 32, 8, and 5 for Chef. He was cooking with the pot. Kevin Looney, career game, 21-12. And like I said, Poole had 23. Jalen Brunson had 31, 7, and 5. So you can't really put it on Dallas. The guys didn't show up. They showed up. Golden State is just better. And I know that's a big shock, but I don't know why, even though I told you this. Golden State is simply just better. All right? They're just better. Dallas, I think, is in jeopardy of getting swept. I'm going to say that now. Now, they could come back here in Game 3. Luka drops 40, 50, whatever it is. Spencer, Jalen, they show up, and then when they get it done, somebody on Golden State has a down game. Whatever it is, right? But Golden State, they're just better. They're just better. They're deeper. Dallas, not there yet. Not there yet. Better than they were, but they are not there yet. They are out of their depth in this game. All right? They are out of their depth. Now, I think a lot of people were fresh off of seeing what Dallas did to the Suns, and we're drinking that Kool-Aid. But let's relax. Let's calm down. Let's take a breather here. This is the Golden State Warriors. And just like I said in the NHL segment about the Tampa Bay Lightning, I'm going to say it once again here about the Golden State Warriors. Experience matters in the playoffs. This Golden State team has been there, done that. They have been to the promised land many times over. They've been to the dance. This is not their first rodeo. They have played so many big games, I can't even remember or count the pure number or exact number of big games they've played. This core has history. And they've made history. They've done this before. Dallas, they haven't been here before. They haven't. Not with this team. Mark Cuban's been there before, right? Jason Kidd, he's been there before, right? Hall of Famer. But this Dallas team, Luka, as great as he is in the playoffs, Jalen Brunson, he's won national championships. But this is the national championship is different from the NBA playoffs. They haven't been there before. So this is the ultimate trial by fire. You're facing a former dynasty in the league looking for revenge. It's going to be tough. It's going to be very, very tough. Now, maybe Luka comes tonight, like I said, and he makes magic happen. But I think the Warriors got this in control, and I think we need to be on. They need to be on sweep line. Word to my boy Jay, Warriors fan. We was talking about it during orientation. Dallas, listen. Warning, sweep, warning, broomsticks, on watch. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to head over to the Roundup. And yes, the NASCAR All-Star Race, which I got to give a shout out because I never watched for a NASCAR team. Got to give a shout out. All right, we got the All-Star Race tonight in Texas. I wish it was in the 704. But, of course, we'll be in the 704 next week, and I'll probably be at that race. So, yeah, that'll be good. Maybe I get to talk about that, depending on when I film that episode next week, 95. However, All-Star Race, it's about to go down in 5 minutes, so we won't be able to talk about it now. But, yeah, it should be interesting. You guys can let me know. But we will talk about F1. We will get some racing on this episode. Because listen, Charles, oh my gosh, I feel so bad for him. It's just been down horrendous for Charles Leclerc the past 2 weeks. First, the crash last week. Wasn't an actual F1 event, but crashed last week, bought his legendary car. Then he's dominating the Spanish Grand Prix, right? Looks like he's pretty much got this in the bag, right? Max and Georgia, by the way, are having a hell of a battle for P2 while this is happening. And then all of a sudden, his car just loses power, which is insane and just so incredibly unlucky. Leclerc DNFs for the first time this year. And once again, we continue the annual tradition of Max is either going to win the race or he's going to DNF, and Max didn't DNF. Charles did, so Max wins the Spanish Grand Prix. I think Carlos got second and George got 3. Lewis Hamilton's still in the ditch, but he is the GOAT. So, yeah, it's interesting. It's almost like a changing of the guard. Not what I expected, at least this year. But, yeah, it's been a struggle year for Lewis. Max and Charles continue to be the class. Carlos, by the way, getting a lot of podiums this year. So, yeah, shout out to Red Bull as a team. But Max gets it done. Charles, so unlucky. Anderson and Floyd. I'm not going to talk about their opponents, but yeah, quick exhibitions. Floyd, listen, he does this in his sleep. He was literally talking to the commentary team. Anderson versus Jake Paul. Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. I will excuse, since Anderson's not a boxer, I will excuse this. I will excuse this. I will actually allow this one. Because Anderson is shown, you know, he's still got it a little bit, at least, you know, in the ring. I think that's a pretty fair fight. Pretty reasonable fight. I'd be down for Anderson versus Jake Paul. We'll see what happens, but they cruise. I'm not going to talk too much about that. PGA Championship literally just happened. Literally just ended. Disaster. Mito. Oh, he was the story of the week. The rookie leading the PGA Championship. Had it, but he crumbled on the final day. Ended 5 over, and I mean crumbled. It was hard to watch. The 17th and especially that 18th. Double bogeys, I believe, and falls out of the playoff. Falls out of the playoff. However, Will Zalatoris and Justin Thomas. JT was there to pick up the slack, and boy, did JT pick up the slack. Zalatoris, and like I said, JT go to the playoff, and of course, JT gets the win here. Yeah, wins the PGA. Well deserved. What a surge. Sometimes golf is about how you close. It's about how you finish, like a lot of things in life, a lot of things in sport. It's about how you close. JT closed, Mito, heartaches for him. But yeah, you know, that's some of the pressure with golf, you know. Can be one of the most tough sports in terms of pressure. And yeah, unfortunately he crumbled, and Justin Thomas, he delivered. He gets the PGA Championship. And to end off here, we'll end with a little bit of baseball. Of course, we have the whole Jackie situation. I get it. I think it was racially insensitive by Donaldson, but I don't think he had any ill intent. I remember that article, actually, from Sports Illustrated, where, now that he was brought up, where Tim referred to himself almost as Little Jackie, or it was like a term of endearment called by people. So I don't think that had any type of, and that's not just me because I'm a Yankees fan, I don't think he meant any ill will. However, it was racially insensitive, just kind of out of the blue, and that can be. So I get both sides. It's an unfortunate situation. However, hopefully that doesn't cloud this kind of great series we've been having between, I think, 2 of the better teams in terms of talent in the AL between the Yankees and the White Sox. I know they won Game 1 earlier today. We'll see who wins Game 2. But what I really wanted to talk about was I got to go see Adley Rutschman this past week. As they played the Charlotte Knights, Norfolk did. And then he got called up, so that was kind of neat. But yeah, Adley Rutschman gets a triple. Another superstar prospect in the AL beast. Oh, Lord. Grayson Rodriguez also was a monster. I got to see him too, so that was cool. Got to see 2 top 10 prospects, the number 1 pitching prospect and the number 2 prospect overall in Adley. Adley gets called up, showed out. It was a cute moment, beautiful stuff. But yeah, congrats to Adley on getting called up. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed episode 94. New location, new couch, same great podcast, same great show. Hope you guys enjoyed. Love you guys. Appreciate all the love lately. Reactions are back. So yeah, I'll see you this week for that. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Ocho, signing off.